share my screen. Okay, so yesterday what we have learned, we have taken the different examples of this particular loops, right? So in loops we have printed the different patterns, right? So see, for loop we have covered, I mean, almost, I mean, many examples, right? So I don't see, I mean, or I don't think you guys are having problem to, writing the loops or only, I mean, it's quite initial phase. You can face, I mean, little bit challenges, while writing the loops, but basic understanding of loop you guys get, right? For loop, not only, I mean, not, I'm not talking about the other loops, but for loops, how you're comfortable now, you guys? Are you able to write the for loop, or I mean, at least small program, are you able to think, I mean, how I can iterate, or how actually for loop is getting executed? You guys get the idea?
Yes, Ajay.
Yes, Ajay.
Okay. So,
That's nice.
see, yesterday I got them inquiry from the Vajra that can you please take that method, okay, how to create method, okay, that particular part. So I will repeat that particular part in last half an hour. Okay. So we'll start today on next part. Okay. That is the while loop. Okay. So now what is while loop? Okay. So as I said yesterday, like there are two main popular loops. Okay. One is the for loop and one is the while loop. Okay. So if you see, okay, for loop and while loop. Okay. So where exactly we can use the for loop? So short answer is, if you know, I mean, how many iterations are going to be. Right. So let's say if I want to print the 1 to 10 number, right? So 10 iteration I know in advance, right? So in that case, I'm going to use the for loop. Okay. Now, when to use the while loop? Okay. If you don't know how many number of iteration means what? How many times for loop or while loop going to execute, right? How many iterations it is going to execute, right? So if you don't know in advance, okay, how many iterations is required, okay, so in that case you can go, I mean, you can use the while loop. Okay, while loop. So for example, I am reading something from the database, right? So I don't know, I mean, how many records are there in database, right? So what I will do, I will read. So this is the method, okay, rs.next in database. Okay, we are not going to cover this database, how to read the data, but this is the proper example where, I mean, we can use the while loop. Okay, so for example, I am reading something from the database, and in database there are number of rows, right? So I'm taking first row, second row, third row, till the all the rows are finished, till the last row, right? So in that case, I don't know, I mean, how many rows are there, so how many times it will require to iterate, right? So in that case, my while loop is best choice. My while loop is best choice. Okay. So in while loop as well, you have to take care of three things. Okay. Which are the three things you have to take care? Okay. So as I said in previous session, okay. So in while loop, what we need to take? Okay.
Initialization, condition, and
First one is,
increment and decrement.
right. So first one is the declaration, or we can say the initialize. Sorry, I will write it here. This is for if. Okay. So first one is the initialization. Okay. Then you have to provide the condition. And third one is the increment decrement. Okay. So if you are not doing increment decrement, what will happen? It will go in continuous loop. Right. We have seen that it will go in continuous loop. Why? Because if you are not modifying that value, okay, on which your condition is applied, how that, I mean, condition will change, right? It will not going to change. It will every time check only, I mean, condition is true, but the value is not modifying if you are not applying this increment decrement, right? So these three things are important. Okay, so first one is the initialization. Okay, second one is the condition, and third one is the, so we can say this is the first one, initialization, second one, condition. So these conditions needs to be always in the form of true and false, true or false, in the form of true or false you have to given, you have to give this particular condition. Okay, and now increment decrement, it's not necessary always you have to say, I plus plus, I plus plus, or I minus minus. Okay, I mean, increment I can do like, I can say like, number mod by 10, or number divided by 10. That is also changing your values, right? So basically you can say the change. Okay, instead of increment decrement you can say the change as well. Okay, so you have to change that value. Okay, original value you have to change, so that next iteration it will check with the new condition. Okay, so again in next iteration it will be the new condition. Okay, so whenever condition will fail, at that time it will come out of the loop. Whenever condition will fail, it will become out of the loop, right? So first thing is the initialization. Okay, initialization means you have to take any variable. So let's say I'm taking int a is equal to, let's say, 20. So this particular thing is, I will call it as the initialization. Right. So initialization you have to do compulsory. Right. Second thing, you have to apply the condition which give me true and false. Okay. So basically, if you see, I mean, our logical operator, right? Logical operator will give always output in the form of true and false. So you can apply these logical operator. Let's say I is greater than 20, I is less than 20, right? So these operator, or less than or equal to, right? So these are the operator which will give the always true result in the form of true and false. Okay. Now what I'm saying, if this condition is true, then this particular loop is going to execute. This particular one iteration will be execute. Okay, now it will come again, it will change your, variable value, and it will come again, and it will check again condition. If the condition is true, it will again execute this particular entire loop, and it will again check the condition. Okay, so till your condition is true, your loop is going to execute. Till your condition is true, your loop is going to execute. Okay, whenever condition is false, whenever condition is false, okay, whenever condition is given false, in it at that time it will not go inside the your while loop. Okay, it will not go inside your while loop. Okay, so everything, I mean, this particular thing is very important, and everything is depend on your what condition you are giving, what condition is you are giving. Right. So let's take one simple program where we can check, uh, uh, let's say first print 1 to 10 number. Okay, or 1 to 20 number. Okay, so where is my Eclipse? I'll just open the Eclipse. Okay, so I think today who is not done. Okay, so I'll create one class. I will give name, while loop in Java. Okay, that particular class is already exist. I will say this is the one. Okay, so now I want to print the number 1 to 10. Okay, I want to print the number. So let's say 1 to, let's say, 10 or 20. Okay, so let's take the 20. Okay, I want to print the number 1 to 20. Right. So first thing that we have to understand, that is the, or first we have to take, I mean, first thing that we have to take care, that is what? First step is the initialization,
Initialization.
right? So I want to print from 1 to
20.
1 to 20, right? So I will create one variable. Okay. Initialization should be there, right? So for that, I need to create one variable. So let's take the one number. So let's say I will say int I equals to what? Okay. So I want to print the number from 1 to 20, right? So value of I will take 1 here. Okay. So initialization will be the 1 here, right? Okay. So initial number will be the I. Initialization is, I mean, will start from the 1. Okay, so that's the reason I taken or I initialize I is equal to 1. Okay, so this particular step is called as the initialization. So this is my initialization. Okay, now second thing we talked about, that we need to provide the condition inside the while loop. So let's take one while loop. Okay, so let's take one while loop. So I'll say while,
While I less than equal to 20.
okay, so maybe I'll write while here. While, okay, I need to provide the condition. So what could be the condition? So I less than equal to
Equal to 20.
20. Okay. Now how I come with this condition? Because I know, I mean, I want to print the number from 1 to 20, and initial value of I is this one. Initial value of I is this one, right? So I will check, okay, whether I is less than or equal to 20. So this is my condition. This particular part is called as the condition. So I am applying condition here, okay, and I will I will open the curly braces, I will close the curly braces. So this particular part is called as the body of the loop. So this is the body of the loop. So this is my loop body. So I can write here n number of line of code. Okay, there is no, I mean, limit. You can have, I mean, number of lines here. Okay, and all these lines will be the part of your while loop. Okay, so these are what are the blue highlighted code. It is the your loop body. Right. So I can write the code here inside the loop body. Now in this case, I just want to print the number, right? So I will say print the number system.out.println. Okay. And I'll say print I.
I.
Okay. After that, what I will do, I will say, okay, so that's fine. Okay. Every time it will print the I on new line. Okay. Now see, initialization is done. Then condition is done. Then what we need to do? Third step. Third
Increment or
step, you
decrement.
have to increment
Inc-
and decrement.
Decrement.
Right. So increment, decrement, I will say, okay, I want first initial value of I is 1. Okay. I want to check, I less than or equal to 20. Okay. But this I value should be increment every time. Okay. So I will say I plus plus, or I can say I is equal to I plus 1. Okay. Whichever you feel the comfortable, you can add. Okay. Otherwise, I can add like this as well. Okay. I is equal to I plus 1, which is fine. Right. Like this as well, I can add. Okay. So basically, I'm saying uh, whatever value of I will increase by 1. Okay. So it will basically increase value of I by 1 every iteration. Right. So that's it. Okay. And if I run this particular code, it will the print the number from 1 to 20. Okay. Now let's do one thing. We'll debug this particular program. So you'll get clear idea how while loop internally works. Okay. Okay. So let's say I will add debug point here. Okay. Now what I will do, I'll say run as or debug as a Java application. Okay. So now I will say switch to the debugger window. Okay. So now this is my debugger window. Okay. Now I will say step over. For that, I will click here. Okay. Now see what it will say. It will check. Okay, okay, value of I is how much? Value of I is 1. If you see, if I'm hovering here, so I will get the value of I. Okay. So value of I is 1. Okay, so now it is checking 1 is less than or equal to 20. What will be the output? 1 is less than 20, less than or equal to 20. Condition is true or false?
True. True.
True.
Right.
Condition is
So condition is true. Now in that case, what will happen? It will go inside the while loop. It will go inside the while loop. Right. So I will say step over. Okay, so it's if you see it's in while loop. Right. So now here it will print this particular number. So it will print the number 1 because value of I is how much? Value of I is 1. So it will print the 1. Right. So I will say print. Okay, so 1 is printed something here. Okay, if you see 1 is printed here. Okay. Now what it will do, it will increase the value of I by 1. Right. So I will say okay. Now if you see after this line execution of line, the value of I is 2 now. Okay, value of I is 2 now. Now it will again check 2 is less than or equal to 20. 2 is less than or equal to 20. So condition is true or false in this case?
True.
Condition is true, right? So it will go inside the while loop because the condition is true. See, uh, it will check, I mean, every time condition is true or false, condition is true or false, condition is true or false. So whenever condition is true, it will go inside the loop. Whenever condition is true, it will go inside the loop. Okay. And once the condition is false, it will go out of the loop. Okay. So now it will, because the condition is true in this case. Okay. So it will go inside the loop. Okay. Now what it will do? It will print the I. It will print the I. Okay. Now again here I'm saying increase the value of I by 1. Now value of I is 2. Now value of I is 2. 2 plus 1, how much? 3. So value of I will be the 3. Okay. Now again it will check. Okay, new value of I, that is the 3, is less than or equal to 20. So here in this case as well, condition is true. It will go inside the loop. Okay. Now it will go to inside the loop. It will print the I. Okay. So value of I, it will print. So it will print the 3 here. Okay. And now it will again increase the value of I. Okay, 3 plus 1, how much? 4, right? So value of I is 4 now. Now it will check 4 less than or equal to 20. Okay, so condition is true. It will go inside the loop again. Okay, it will go inside the loop again and it will print the I. Okay, it will print the I. So let's say step over. It will go to the next line. Here I'm increasing the value of I by 1. So now value of I is 4. 4 plus 1, 5. Okay, so value of I will become 5. Now it will check 5 is less than or equal to 20. Condition is true. So it will repeat this process till your value of I equal to how much? 20. So I will go to the 20 till 20. Okay. Now value of I is 20. Right. And if you see, we have printed number till 90. Sorry, 19. We have printed number till 19. Right. Now tell me, now value of I is how much? 20. It will check 20 less than or equal to 20. Condition is true or false?
True.
Condition is
true.
true, right? So it will
True.
go inside the loop. Okay, it will go inside the loop. Okay,
Check.
it will go inside
Print.
the loop. It will print the I.
Print.
Okay,
I.
and it will
It will
increase
print.
the value of I by 1. Okay, so now value of I is 20. So it will
One.
increase the value of I by 1. So now it will become
Mhm.
21. Okay, now it will check 21 is less than or equal to 20. So here in this case, what is the output of this particular expression? True or
False.
false? So it will be the
False.
false, right? So what I said, if it is false, okay, if this condition is false, then it will come out of the loop. It will not go inside the loop and it will not increment and decrement the value in that case. Okay, so it will not go inside this, then this particular code will not execute, right? So now if I say, okay, step over, and if you see, it is going out of the loop. Okay, so it is not going inside the loop, it is going out of the loop. Okay, so this is how your um, while loop is working.
While loop.
Yeah, while loop is work like this. Okay, so if you see, I mean, this is quite similar to your for loop. Okay, only, I mean, implementation is different, but exactly it is working like your for loop only, right or wrong? Right, it is similar to for loop. In for loop, what we will do, we'll will have all the three, like your condition, sorry, your initialization, your condition, and increment decrement, you will have on same line. So here I will say, if I want to print the 1 to 10, what I will say, int I is equal to, so it will not allowed, I will say j. Okay, int j is equal to, so let's say 1. Okay, then I will say j less than or equal to 20, and then I will say j plus plus, right? So this particular loop as well, it will print the 1 to 10. Okay, so here what I'm doing, I have done the initialization. So if you see, this particular step is initialization. In while loop as well, this particular step is initialization. In for loop, we have condition. So here as well, we have condition. Okay. In for loop, we have increment, right? So here as well, you can do the increment, decrement. Okay. So instead of this particular line, you can say that like I plus plus as well, which is completely fine. It will work as it is. Okay. So this is how we can write the your while loop. Okay. Any confusion on while loop?
It's clear, Rajay.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Now tell me, if I want to print, okay, number in reverse order, or maybe if I want to, let's say we have taken one example, right? So print a number, count the number. Okay. So let's say I'm having one number. Okay. So my number is int, let's say number, okay, equal to, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So I'm having this particular number. Okay. I want to count how many digits are there in this particular number. Okay. So how we are going to write the while loop for this particular program, or how we can count the number of digit with the help of while loop? Okay, so first step is initialization. Okay, so initialization we have already done. So this is my initialization. Okay, I don't need this. Okay, it's not necessary, guys. Always you have to initialize that particular value to the one. Okay, now in this case, I want to initialize this particular value to the number. Okay, so number value is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have initialized here, number is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this particular step I can say initialization is done. Right. Next, what you need to do? You need to apply the condition. Apply the condition. Okay. So what I will do, I know, I mean, how to get the count. For that, I want to count the how many digits. See, if I want to count the how many digits are there, so I have to pull the 1 1 1 1 digit, and then I have to count how many digits are there. Right. So for that, what I know, like if I divide this particular number by 10, in that case, initially I will get the 5 value, initial iteration. Second iteration I will get the 4. Then third iteration I will get the 3. Then I will get the 2. Then I will get the 1. So likewise, I can count the number, or what I can do, I can directly divide this number by 10. If I divide this particular number, then initial iteration, I'll get this much of number. Then next iteration, I'll get this much of number. Okay. Then next iteration, I will get 12. And next iteration, I will get the 1. Okay. And next iteration, I will get the 0. Right. So we have to iterate, till your value of number is 0 or greater than 0. If it is less than 0 or 0, then we don't want to iterate. Okay, so what we'll do, see, if I said I want to count the number of digit in this particular number. Okay, so basic logic will be what? I will divide this particular number by 10. Okay, so if I divide this particular number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 10, so what will be the output? Output will be the 1, 2, 3,
1, 2, 3,
4,
4, 5.
5. Okay, so this will be the output. So I will say this is my iteration 1. Okay, so in iteration 1, if I divide number by 10, then I will get this number. Okay, in next iteration, what I will do, I will take this number as input. Okay, I will take this number as an input, and then what I will do, I'll say divide this number by 10. Okay, then what will happen? Okay, if I divide this particular number by 10, so what will be the output?
4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4 will be the output. Okay, so I can say, I mean, this will happen in iteration 2. Okay, so now in iteration 3, what will happen? Iteration
1,
3.
2, 3.
I'm going to repeat this process till this particular number is not 0. Right, I'm going to repeat this
1,
particular process
3.
till this number is going to be 0. Right, so I will say 1, 2, 3, 4 divided by 10 again. Every time I'm going to divide by 10. Okay, so what will be the number now? 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is the iteration 3. Okay, this is the iteration 3. Okay, now I will say iteration 4. What we need to do?
1, 2, 3
What we
divided by 10.
1, 2, 3 divided by 10. Okay, now output will be the 1, 2. Okay, now on fifth iteration, now in fifth iteration, what I will do? I'll say 1, 2 divided by 10. Okay, so output will be the 1. Okay, now iteration 6. What I will do? I'll say 1 divided by 10. Output will be the 0. Right. So see, these many iterations are required. How many iterations required? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 iteration is required. Okay, to get the number 0. To get the number 0. Right. Now what I will do? In each iteration, so how many numbers are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 number as well, and we required the iteration as well 6. So can I take one variable? Let's say I will say I need one variable count, and I will take value as a 0, and each iteration I will increase this count by 1. Okay, so here value of count will be how much? Value of count in first iteration it will be initially it's
1.
0,
1,
right? So if I increase by 1, then 1, then
1,
count second iteration
2,
how much it will be? It will be the 2. Now third iteration how much it will be? 3.
3.
Now fourth iteration how much it will be? 4, because this is increasing by 1, right? Every time here it will be the 5. Okay, and here it will be the it will be the
6.
6. So can I say this is the number of
Iteration.
count of number of digit? Can I say this is the count of number of digit? So there are 6 digit. Can I say in this number there are 6 digit? Right or wrong?
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So similar thing we have to do with the help of our while loop. Okay. So I have to divide number by 10 in each and every iteration. Each and every iteration I have to divide. So I got the condition. So first one is I got the initialization. So I will initialize. Okay, so I will take one variable. Let's say number. Okay, and I will initialize this number to this one. Right. So now till what point we have to divide by 10 every time? Okay, till which number? So value of number is 0, then we have to stop. Value of number is greater than 0 or less than 0. Okay, in that case we have to stop iterating, right? So what will be the condition we can say here? What condition we can apply here? Anyone? What will be the condition here then?
Number greater than 0.
Number
Is
number should be greater than 0. Okay. If this condition is true, then go to the, I mean, go to the first iteration, then number divided by number divided by 10, do this particular process. Okay. And if you want, you can, so you can increase this particular count. Okay. Then second iteration, it will check with this number value will be this one. Okay. It will check number is greater than 0. Then if it is, okay, just increase the discount. Okay. In third iteration, number value will be this one. Okay. It will check number is, so 1, 2, 3, 4 is greater than 0. Condition is true. It will increase this particular count. Okay. So same thing we have to do it in code. Okay. Are you guys getting this logic, or there is confusion, still confusion? Okay. I want to hear from, let's say,
Yes, sir.
Gaurav.
Yes, clear, sir.
Clear. Clear. Sanjeev. Vajra.
yes, Ajay. It's clear.
Clear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So now I have initialized this as a number. Okay. Now I have to apply the condition. So we got the condition. You have to iterate through this particular loop till your number is greater than 0. Number is greater than 0. So I will say number should be greater than 0. Then you can go inside this particular loop. You can go inside this particular loop. Okay. Now I'm going inside the loop. Okay. So let's assume the condition is true. Okay. I'm inside this particular loop. In that case, what we need to do? Because I need to count the, I mean, number of digit, right? So let's take one variable here. So I'll say int count, because I want to store count somewhere, right? So I will take the count, and I'm saying like initial value of my count is 0. Initial value of my count is 0, right? Now at the very first line, as soon as we enter inside the loop, okay, as soon as we enter in the loop, I'm saying just increase the count plus plus, count plus plus. I'm saying count plus plus. So guys, here I'm not doing, increment and decrement, because see, this count variable is different. Okay. I'm just increasing the count so that I can store the number of, how many number of digit are there in this particular number. Okay. In this particular number. Okay. So I just increase this particular count. Okay. So this is not initialize, sorry, this is not increment and decrement, which we talked about here. Okay, here we have talked about, right, increment, decrement. So this is basically not increment, decrement. So increment, decrement, I am going to, so this is, we can say, the part of your logic. Okay, while loop logic. Okay, so while loop, we have written this particular logic. Okay, now here on the next line, I want to, modify this particular number every time. So how I am going to modify this particular number every time? So I'll say number equals to number divided by 10. Okay. And this particular line is going to change your number every iteration. Okay. Every iteration. Okay. Now this is done, right? So we have applied the condition. Okay. Now see, at every iteration, this count is going to increase. This every iteration, this count is going to increase. Okay. Now, once the while loop end, okay, so while loop is ending here. After that, I'm saying like, once it is coming out of while loop, then just print my what? Count. Okay, once this is out of this particular while loop, then just print my count. Right, so here I'm printing the count. Right. And if I run this, it is saying number of digit or count is here 10. Okay, so let's take number, little big number. Okay, so let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So there are 10 number. Okay, if I run this, it should give the 10 count, right? So number of digits are 10 here, right? So I'll make little bit short number. Okay, so let's keep this one. Okay, so let's debug it. Okay, so for the debug, I have applied the debug point here. Okay, and I'll say debug as a Java application. Debug as a Java application. So see, number initially will be the 1, 2, 3, 4. Number initially will be the 1, 2, 3, 4. And what will be the count? Count will be the 0. Okay, so I will say step in. Okay, number is 1, 2, 3, 4 and count is 0. Okay, now it will check number is greater than 0. Number is 1, 2, 3, 4. That means 1, 2, 3, 4 is greater than 0 or not. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is greater than 0, right? So
Yes.
condition is true. In that case, it will go inside the loop, right? Now here I'm saying my count value is 0, but you can increase the count by 1, right? So 0 plus 1, how much? 1, right? So count value will be the 1 now. Okay, so if you see, count is 1. Okay, now I'm saying number is equal to number divided by 10. Okay, so what it will do, it will divide that particular number by 10. Okay, now if you divide any number by 10, so it will be, I mean, it will just, remove the first last digit. Okay, so now it will be the 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now number value will be the 1, 2, 3. If you see, number value is now 1, 2, 3. Okay, now it will check 1, 2, 3 because condition is not false yet again, right? So it will check 1, 2, 3 is greater than 0 or not. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 is greater than 0, right? So it will go inside the loop and it will increase this count by 1. Okay, now again it will divide the 1, 2, 3 by 10. So 1, 2, 3 divided by 10 will be the how much? 12. All right. So now number value will be the 10. Now it will again go to the loop, I mean condition, and it will check 12 is greater than 0. Okay. So again condition is true. It will increase the count by 1. So count value is 2. It will make the count value as a 3. Right. And again it will divide this 12 by 10. So 12 divided by 10, how much? 1. Right. So now number is 1. Okay. Now it will check again 1 is greater than 0. Condition true or false? Condition is true. Right. In that case, it will go inside the loop. It will increase the number by 1. So now what will be the, sorry, it will increase the count by 1. So count is 3. It will make the count as a 4 now. Right. So count will become 4 and it will now divide the 1 by 10. Okay. So 1 divided by 10, how much? 1 divided by 10 is a 0. Okay. Now it will check 0 is less than or equal to 0. Sorry, 0 is less than 0. Okay. So condition will become false. 0 is not, greater than 0. 0 is not greater than 0. So condition will false and it will come out of the loop. Condition is false. It will come out of the loop. And after that, it will print our count. It will go to the this particular line and it will print the count. So it is saying in this case, my count is how much? 4. So it's printing the 4 here. Okay. So clear this particular program for each and everyone.
Hello. Hello.
Mhm.
Actually, you told what is the size of this integer data type? 32767 2
Sorry,
minus 327. The size of int data type
range,
is
range.
range of integer data type is 32767 to 32767, something like that.
Okay.
But you are writing from 1 to 90 and still it is taking as say input in integer type. It is not
Uh,
giving error.
See, that is the range. Okay. So, I mean,
Yes.
you can check. I mean, what is if you are saying like I will go to that particular PPT. Okay. Okay. So this is the range, right? So this is
Yes.
the range. Okay. So we have to
Okay.
check
Short.
what are the different numbers coming in this particular range. Okay, I'm
Yes,
not sure. I
yes.
mean, what are the different numbers in coming in this particular range? But whatever, otherwise it will give me error. Okay,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
I
got it. Actually, that is a range of short type. So this
see
is a
now,
range.
it's giving me error. Okay, that means this particular number is not coming in the range. So it's saying like, out of range. Okay, type int out of range. Okay, now
Yes,
it's
yes.
out of range. Okay,
Wonderful. Yes, yes. Okay. Thank
if I remove this. Okay, so now this number I can type. Okay, so range you have to understand. Okay, no need to, I mean, keep focus on range because no one can, remember these ranges. All right. So yeah, that's it about the while loop. Okay. So what you need to do, okay. So take all the for loop program, okay, excluding that pattern program. Pattern program you can do it always in. I mean, it's not necessary. You can do it with the help of while loop as well, but it's better, if you're doing it with the help of for loop. Okay, but whatever apart from this, whatever program we have seen, let's say factorial of number, let's say, prime number, odd even number, printing 1 to 10 odd even number, right? So all these programs, okay, we have to convert it into the while loop. Okay, just for the practice purpose. Okay, if you are comfortable with the for loop, you can write it when someone is asking program, you can write it into the for loop. If you are comfortable with the while loop, you can write it into the while loop. Okay, there is not an issue. Okay, but you should understand the while loop as well. So that's the reason, just for the practice point of view, what you can do, whatever previously we have covered the program, right? So this is the list of the program, right? So we have covered earlier, right? So let's say prime number is there. Print the table, then sum of the numbers. Okay, so these are the different examples we have taken, right? So just convert all the examples into the while loop. Clear? So this is the assignment for you guys. Okay, let me know if you're facing some challenges. Okay, so if you want to meet tomorrow, we can meet tomorrow as well. That is not an issue. Okay, we said like, we'll meet from Monday to Friday. Okay, but if you're having doubt and if you ping me, I want to connect you with you, or maybe we can. I mean, just message me if you want to connect. I'll connect tomorrow as well. Okay, tomorrow. Okay, so. This is about the while loop. Okay. So similarly, while loop, we have do while loop as well. Okay. So now what is this do while loop? Okay. So let's take one more program. Okay. So I'll say do while in Java. So this is my program name, do while in Java. Okay. So now let's take first syntax of do while. Okay. So do while statement. Okay. So do while you have to write like this. Okay. So first of all, do. Okay, and then whatever code you have to return. So see, while loop we are writing like this. So this is the while loop. So here basically you are writing the condition. Okay, basically here you are writing the condition. Okay, so we can say that this is the condition. You are writing the condition here. Okay, so this is the while loop. So basically in while loop we write the while loop, then condition, and then this is the body of while loop. This is the body of while loop. Okay, but in do while loop you have to write first do. Okay, you have to write first do, and then you have to write the while loop, while loop, or we can say the while and then condition. Okay, now it will, you don't need to write the body because this is the body. Okay, this particular section is the body of the loop itself. Okay, now why we have, I mean, do while loop. Okay, so now there are some conditions, or there are some I mean scenarios where you will require your loop should run at least once. Okay, your loop should run at least one. Your loop should run at least once. Okay. So for that purpose, we will require what? Do while loop. You will require the do while loop. Okay. So let's take the first program. Okay. So I'm having, so for example, while, okay. So for example, I'm having while loop. Okay. So this is my while loop. Here I'm saying like, I want to print the number. So let's say from 1 to 10. Okay. So for that, I have created one variable int I is equal to, let's say, 1. Okay. And I will say print the number. Right. I'll say system dot out dot println and I'll say print I. Okay. So now, sorry, what happened? We haven't done the increment decrement, right? So let's pause this particular program and I'll say I plus plus. So this is important step, right? Increment decrement. Okay. So basically it will print the 1 to 10 number. Okay. Now if I say like my initialization is from, let's say, 11, right? So what will happen? How many numbers it will print?
It will not print anything.
It will not print
It will
anything.
not
Why?
print. It's
Because
false.
see,
Condition is
False.
false.
first time itself condition will false, right? So it will go here and what it will check, 11 is less than or equal to 10. So 11 is not less than or equal to 10, right? So 11 is greater than 10, right? So condition will become false and it will come out of the loop. So it will not print anything. So basically it will not print anything. So our first conclusion in while loop, if condition is fail first time, okay, itself, then it is not going to print anything inside the loop. So your loop is not going to iterate anytime. I mean, even single time as well, right? So this is about the while loop. Okay. So now what is about the do while loop? Okay. So I will just comment this particular code. Okay. And I will try to write the same program. Okay. So for example, what I will in do while loop as well, you have to follow the similar things. Okay. So first of all, we should have do. Okay. Here as well, you will require initialization. Okay. So I will do I is equal to, let's say, initially I will say 1. Okay. First of all, we'll try to print 1 to 10 number. Okay. So I'll say system dot, what we need to do, system dot out dot println. I want to print the I and then I will increase the value of I. Okay. So this is the initialization step. This is the increment. And here you have to apply the condition. So what will be the condition? I is less than or equal to 10. So basically this particular program will print number from 1 to 10. Okay, so it's printing the number from 1 to 10. If you see, it's printing the number from 1 to 10. Okay, but now if I say I initialize this particular I to 11, I initialize this particular I to 11. Now in this case, what will happen? Okay, now ideally it should check, okay, I is less than or equal to 10. Okay, condition will false and it should not run anything. It should not print anything. But if I run this particular program, it will print the 11. That means it is going inside this particular loop, which is your while loop. Okay. So always remember in case of do while loop, your loop is always execute at least once. Doesn't matter what is condition you're applying. It should execute at least once. Okay. If your condition is failing at first time, in that case as well, it is going to execute at least once. It is going to execute at least once. This is about the do while loop. So it will execute in similar way. Okay, so what I will do, I will apply the debugger here. Okay, and I'll say debug as a Java application. Okay, so it is coming here. So I'm saying, I'm saying as step over. Okay, now if you see, it's not checking the condition. It is directly go and print the number. So it will print the number. It is increment. Sorry, it is increase your number. Okay, and now it is checking 12 is less than or equal to 11. So condition is true or false. 12 is less than 11. Condition is false. Condition is false. Then it will come out of the loop. But if you see execution is happening like this, okay, so it will first, print, I mean, initialize this number, then it will go inside the do, okay, and lastly, it will check the condition. Lastly, it will check the condition. So in case of do while loop, you can say do while loop execute at least once if the condition is false. Okay, at least once it will execute. Okay, but in case of for loop, it's not necessary. It will execute at least once. Okay, so initial iteration, if the condition is fail, it will execute 0 times. But here it will you usually have guarantee it will execute at least once. So clear difference between do and do while.
Yes, yes.
Difference is clear, but what are the conditions? Why we want to run our loop at least one time? What are these conditions?
Okay, so for
And
example, you are taking some input from the user, right? And based on input, uh, let's say, I mean, there are many reasons. Okay, you can like suppose for example, I'm taking something some input from the user. Okay, so in that case, and I'm expecting some values from the user. Okay, based on the value of whatever input user giving, I'm applying some conditions, right? So for example, um, uh, for example, I'm saying like let's say I'm writing some application for, let's say, for voting purpose, right? So I will check, I will take the as input from the user. What is your age, right? So he will add his age, okay, and based on his age, I'll say ki if user is um, valid for the vote or not. All right. So in that case, I will check the condition. If age is less than or equal to 10, okay, sorry, age is less than or equal to 18. So in that case, at least I should ask the user, okay, um, or enter your age, right? So enter your age, that particular code I'm going to write inside the do while loop. Okay, so I'll come with other examples as well. Right now, so this is one example. Do I have any other example? So for example, previously we have taken the one example, that is the switch case example, right? So where we're doing the addition, multiplication, subtraction, right? Now, if I want to ask user, enter your choice, right? Yeah, have you remember this switch case program?
yes,
Yes or no?
yes.
Okay. So for example, in switch case program, okay. Now, I'm asking user to enter your input. All right. So, so what I will do?
Uh,
Okay.
we can
So,
use scanner class.
sorry.
We can enter some scanner object, and for that we
Right,
can.
right. That's fine. I'm just thinking, okay, how we can take the example. Okay. So for example, I'll go to the same program, that is the switch case. Okay. Here, so let's say we are doing the, so instead of this, okay, so I will say this is my case number one. Case number one. This is my case number two. Two. This is my case number three. And this is my case number four. Right. So here, what we need to do? we need to say this result, or let's say key. Result is fine. Key is my integer. Why integer? Because we are having integer. So floating key is not applicable. In Java, they have coded like this. You cannot have the key as a float. Okay. So in previous session, someone asked, right, why we can we have, key as a float, right? Or can we have case number as a float or in point, right? So this is not available. I mean, this is not allowed in Java. Okay. If you are having, it will get the runtime error, right? So I'll say one. Key will be the one. Okay. Now I want to ask this particular key from the user. Okay. I want to ask this particular key from the user. Okay. So how I'm going to do? I'll say, okay, while, or maybe do while. Okay. So here I will say system dot out dot println. I'll say enter. I'll say enter valid, or maybe enter option. Okay. So option number one is what? So let's say option number one is, let's say, add. Okay. So let's say option number two is what? Option number two is, let's say, what is option number two? Option number two is, let's say, subtraction. So I'll say sub and slash n, and slash n means new line. Okay. Don't get confused. Two, I'll say p, right? I'll say p. Okay. Then slash n. Then option number four, I'll say D, division. Okay. Okay. So for example, these are the options available, right? So I need to enter the condition. Okay. From user should enter the value from 1 to 10. Okay. So if it is user not adding the value from 1 to 10, so you should continuously ask him repetitive. Okay. Repetitively. Okay. So I'll say enter the choice between 1 to 4. So I will say whatever choice you are entering, that should be the from 1 to 10. Okay. So I will, where I can take the choice. Okay. So what I will do, I'll say I will create one variable. So let's say before that, I will create one scanner class. I'll say scanner sc is equal to new scanner. Okay. So this particular class is for taking the input from the user. System dot I. Okay. Now what I will do, I will have one variable. Okay. So which I'm going to call here after this particular line. Okay. After printing this particular line, I will say int. Okay. Int sc. Sorry, int. Let's say, so let's say option. Okay. Equal to
SC
equal to sc dot what, next int. Okay. So this is the method, or we can say this particular method we can use to take the input from the user. Okay. Now we have to apply the condition, right? So I will say when option. Okay. When option. I'll take this as a ch. Okay. So I'll say ch is, if ch is greater than what? Ch is
4.
ch is less than, so for example, ch is greater than 4. If the ch is greater than 4, then what we need to do? If CH is greater than 4, then condition will true, it will ask again. Okay, it will go into the loop and it will ask the number again, right? So now if CH is, what I will do, I'll say initial CH will be the 0 here. Zero here, okay? So from here I will remove, and here I will say instead of key, I'll say I'm going to pass the CH here. Okay, I'm going to pass CH here. Okay, now see, I need to at least ask user at least this option. Doesn't matter this condition is true or false. I need to go to user and I need to ask this choice at least once user, right? So if user is entering choice more than 4, then I'm going to again ask user enter your choice till user is not entering the valid choice, right? So I'll say I'll run this particular program. Okay, so it's saying like, enter your choice. So I'm saying like, my choice is, let's say 4, or maybe my choice is, let's say 6. So in that case, it's again asking me enter your choice. Okay. Then I will say my choice is 7. Okay. In that case, again, it's asking the enter your choice. Okay. So now I'm saying my choice is, let's say 4. Okay. So now it's doing the multiplication. Maybe on 4 option, we have applied the, don't go with this option we have added. But why it's not coming in new line? Okay, I'll check it. Okay, but core thing is here, this particular do loop or this particular loop should at least run or should at least run once. Okay, now here I'm having ch is equal to 0, right? But see, it's not bother about what is the initial value of ch. Okay, so it will at least run once, it will at least ask user your initial choice is what, right? So if I go here, and let's say if I run this particular program again, right? So let's say initially it is asking me for the choice. So I'm saying like my choice is 2, right? So it execute this particular do loop at least once. Because of that, I am able to enter the this particular choice, right? So I enter the choice, okay, and I enter the choice 2. Okay, so choice is less, I mean, not greater than 4. So it's just, coming out of this particular loop and rest of the code is getting executed. So this is how it will work. You got this particular example?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We can use a while loop also right here.
But while loop, suppose at initial level, what, I mean, condition you will say? Okay. Initially, what you will say the ch value will be what initially? You have to initialize ch, right? So let's say you will initialize the ch, let's say uh,
But why we are initializing ch here? We can directly use int ch equal to sc dot next int here.
okay. What we can do, you can try it with the help of same program, try with the help of while loop. Okay, you will get some challenges, and let's discuss those challenges tomorrow.
Okay, sir.
Okay, okay. Try by your own. Okay, you will definitely, I mean, it's working, then you can tell me, okay, I have done like this way and it's working fine. Right. If it is not working, in that case as well, we'll discuss why it's not working or what challenges you are facing. Okay. So yeah, it's a, I mean,
Okay,
good
sir.
question. Okay. In which situation we can apply. But here my situation is that I should at least ask user at least option once. Okay. So first time if your user, providing the correct choice, then that's fine. I am not going to ask again and again. Okay. But if user is not providing valid choice, then I should ask in repetitive manner, right? Till the user is not adding the correct option. So this particular loop should at least run once. That's the reason we are adding this particular code inside this particular to loop. Okay, so it will execute at least once and it will take the choice at least one, right? So this kind of code you can add, okay, in case of dual. But I mean, it's if you see from the automation point of view, uh, uh, I never use this particular loop somewhere, right? So this is not that full, that much of useful. Okay, you can concentrate on. But from the interview point of view, interviewer can ask, okay, do you know do while loop? Okay, so what is difference between do while loop and while loop? So it will ask what is difference between while loop and do while loop. Okay, so what is difference between for loop and while loop? Okay, so we can say it is almost same. Okay, so it will also require the initialization, condition, and increment decrement. Okay, for loop as well required, but if you see syntax wise, this is different. Okay, this is the first point. Second point. Okay, when we should use the while loop? Okay, if you don't know the how many number of iterations are going to be, right? So in that case, we are going to use the while loop. You can tell the database example from database if I'm reading something, right? So I don't know, I mean, how many numbers of iterations required, right? So this is about the while loop. So then where exactly for loop should you use? Okay, so if you know number of iteration in advance, right? So in that case, for loop is best suitable, right? So this is difference between for loop and your while loop. Now, what is difference between while loop and do while loop? Okay, at the time of interview, interviewer can ask, okay, what is difference between do while and while loop? Okay, so do while loop will execute at least once, even if your condition is failing, right? But while loop will not execute at least once. Okay, so if condition is failing, then it will not execute your while loop single time as well. Okay, so this is the basic difference between do while loop and while loop. Clear this particular thing or any doubt here?
Yes, Satya.
Okay,
Actually,
so
I have one query. So,
yes,
in
yes,
any
please.
condition or in any application, if we want to use the for loop, while loop, and do while loop, is there a possibility we can do all of the three in one?
That could be possibility. Okay, so see, if you're writing some program, right, or some method, right, so there might be possibility you're writing in that method. So for loop first, then while loop first, then if else. Okay, it's possible, right? But it's depending on what kind of requirement you're having. Okay, I have seen, I mean, many methods, right, where you're using while loop, then for loop, or inside the for loop you're writing the while loop. Okay, inside the for loop as well you can write the while loop.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
but you should have, I mean, that kind of requirement.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
So can
so
we
how?
nested while and do while loop also like that for
Yes,
loop?
yes, 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 yes. That is possible.
Mhm.
It is possible. Okay, so can you try let's say printing table, right? So 1 to 10 table, all right? So printing the table uh, from 1 to 10. We have seen that example, right?
Yeah.
Right. So what you need to do? You need to create one program. So let's say I'll say class table 1 to 10. 1 to 10. In that, what you can do? Take initial for loop. Okay. So this is my for loop. In that, I will say int I is equal to, let's say, it will start from the 1. Okay. I less than or equal to, let's say, 10. And then uh, I plus plus I plus plus. Right. So this is my outer for loop. Now I don't want to use the for loop again. Okay. I want to use the while loop. Okay. So that we can cover this particular topic. Okay, can we have for loop inside the while loop or while loop inside the for loop? Okay, so now see, this particular number, what it will give? It will give me 1 to 10 number, right? So now again I have to take one while loop where it will take the 1 to 10 number and I can multiply these particular numbers, right? So what I will say, I'll say I'll say one more variable I will require because this is the initialization, right? So if, while loop as well, it required initialization. So I will say j equal to, let's say, 1. So this is my initialization here. So I'll say while, or maybe while. Okay. Now I have to apply condition similar to this, right? So I will say my I less than equal to what? 10.
Do we
Correct.
have to
Not
write
I,
I or
j,
J
j,
here?
j, j, j.
Yeah.
Here. Okay. J. Okay. And then I'll say, okay, J plus plus is required. So I will say J plus plus. And whatever logic I need to build, I'll write it here. Okay. So what I need to print here, so I'll say system dot out dot println. Okay. What I need to print?
I
I
multiply J,
multiply
multiply J, J.
J. I multiply J. Okay. And I'll say I want to space as well. Okay. So I'll say after this, print some space. Right. So if I print this, it is printing like, okay, but
Ln.
what is happen? Ln is, it's
Ln
saying
is there.
every
Yeah.
time it's just going to the new line. Okay. Now see, if I'm not adding ln, it will print in one row. Right. If I run this, it will print it one row. Okay. So we don't want like this as well. Right. So I'm saying whenever this internal for loop, this is while loop is finished. After that, I want to go to the new line. So for the new line, I'm saying system dot out dot println. Right. Now if I run this, right. So it is printing the table. This is the first table, second table, third table, fourth table, fifth table, sixth table. Right. Like this, it is printing the table. Right. If you want to have some space, you can add the space with the help of what? Which function?
Format like system format,
Okay. So instead of here, I will say
format, percentage.
system dot out dot println print.
Then
It's not coming.
There's
Print because of this.
F.
Print f. Okay. And here I will say how much space is required to reserve. All right. So I'll say percent for D.
Ajay, T is missing here. Like 11.
Comma, we
Before
need comma.
What is missing?
T for the printf.
T before F.
Print. Oh. Print f. Okay. Uh, Now if I run this, okay. So we'll get the table like this. Okay. So now see inside the for loop, we can have while loop. Okay. Inside the while loop, we can have for loop. Okay. There is no, I mean, restrictions. It is having completely flexible. You can do your own logic. You can apply the for loop inside the while loop inside the for loop. Okay, or for loop inside the for loop, while loop inside the while loop. There is no restrictions. Okay. Just logic is important. You have to write your logic and I mean apply whenever you will require while loop, whenever you will require for loop. Okay. So inside if as well, you can apply the for loop, while loop. There is no restrictions. If else. Okay. Clear this particular topic? Or
But yes,
anyone
but
have?
for loop is much handy than while and do.
Right. So because I mean here everything is I mean initialization is, I mean, on other line, your condition is other line, and for your increment decrement is having on different line, right? So that's the reason you feel like, it's quite difficult. Okay, if you do the practice of while loop as well, so you will feel like while loop is also, I mean, much handy, right? But if you feel comfortable with while loop, go with the sorry, if you are comfortable with for loop, you can go with the for loop. That is not an issue. Okay, but there are some cases where while loop is much. I mean, you can feel. I mean, while loop is, we can use the while loop here. Okay, we'll see in upcoming sessions. Okay, there you itself will say like, we can use the while loop here. Okay, it's much I mean, useful here, while loop. Okay, but as of now, you can go with the for loop if you feel comfortable. But for the practice purpose, you have to do the practice for the while loop as well. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, next topic. So see, after for loop, we have for each loop as well. Okay. But for this for each loop, we will not apply on, I mean, regular numbers, right? For that, I need, either collection, or either I need array, right? So that particular topic is not covered as. So this particular part, I will skip as of now. Okay. And once your for loop is completed, in for loop, I will teach you that particular topic. Okay. So before, close this particular session, let's understand what is meant by array. Okay. So before that, let me plug in my charger. So give me 2 minutes. Okay. 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 So what is meant by array? Right. So we have, I mean, 10 to 15 minutes. So we'll quickly cover what is meant by array. Okay. So what is meant by array? Array is the indexed collection of homogeneous number. Okay, homogeneous means similar kind of element we can store inside the array. Okay, so before that, let's understand what is meant by array. Right. So first of all, arrays means is the collection of element. Collection of element. Okay. What kind of element will be there in array? Homogeneous element will be there. Homogeneous means similar. If I'm saying I want to store the integer, then only integer number you will be store inside the array. If I'm saying I want to create the array for the float, right? So floating elements you are going to store inside the array. Okay. So this kind of collection if you are having. So see, previously we have seen like, if I'm creating one variable int a, then only one number I'm going to store, right? But what if, I want to store the multiple element? What if I need to store the multiple element? Okay, in single variable. In that case, you have to go with the array. In that case, you have to go with the array. Okay. Now, if you see uh, how actually array looks like. So for example, I have created one array. Okay. So let's assume this is my array. Okay, so for example, I'm saying I'm having A is my array. Okay, I'm having this particular A is array. And in this particular array, I'm having, let's say, 10, 20, 30, and 40. Okay, and I'm having, let's say, 40.20. Okay, so see, the, if you're having number like this, okay, 10, 20, 30, 40.20. So 40.20 here is a float and all other number are integer number. So this is not possible. Okay. So it should have homogeneous number. So it should be having 40 or any other number which is not floating point. Okay. So now if I'm having this particular array, okay. So how exactly it will looks like when I'm storing somewhere. Okay. So let's go to the paint. Okay. Now, how many elements are there in this particular array? 1, 2, 3, 4 elements are there, right? So what will happen? Okay, so it will create one indexed collection. Okay, now why I'm saying indexed? Because because it will create like say like this. Okay, so first one, second one, and third one. Okay. So now, okay, it will give the index for each and every number. Okay, so let's say this particular cell. So cell number 1 will have index 0. So always remember, for the array, index start from the 0th index. Okay. So for this particular cell, index will be the 1. For this one, index will be the 2. For this one, index will be the 3. Okay. So it will have one array with this from 0 to 3 index, right? And in this array, it will store this particular number. Okay. It will store this particular number. So first number is 10. That's the reason it will store on 0th index. See, first number is there. So the first number will stored on 0th index. So second number, that is the 20, it will store on second index, that is the index 1, right? Then your third number, that is number 30, will be stored here. Then your fourth number, that is the 40, will be stored here. Okay. Now on 0th number, which number is stored? 0th index, which number is stored? 10. Now first index, so these are the index. Okay, so this is called as the index. This is called as what? This is called as the index. So these are my indexes. These are my indexes. Now I am having 4 element only in my array. That's the reason I am having 0 to 3 index. Okay, 0 to 3 index. If I'm having more element, it will be having more index, like 0 to, let's say I'm having 10 elements. So 0 to 9 index will be there for the 10 elements. Okay. So here I'm saying it is the index collection. It is the index collection of homogeneous number. So first point should be index, right? So each and every element, when it is storing inside the array, it will get one index. Okay, each and every element will get one index. Okay, so that is the reason we are saying this is the index collection. Index collection. And second point, we are saying it is a homogeneous. It will store the what kind of element? It will store the homogeneous element. So we'll have collection of number. It's not like that single number we are going to store, right? We can store the multiple numbers or multiple elements, but those elements should be the homogeneous. Suppose I'm storing the value true, false, true, false, true, false, right? So these are the Boolean values, right? So if I'm having Boolean array, it will store only true, false, true, false, true, false, Boolean values only. If I'm having floating point array, then it will store only float numbers. Right. So this is the important when you are creating array. Right. So here on first point, anyone is having any doubt? What is meant by array? So array is the index collection of homogeneous data element, data types. Homogeneous data type. Index collection of homogeneous. Homogeneous means similar kind of data only you can store. Similar kind of data you can store only. Okay. And index is why we are saying array is indexed collection, because it will stored on the basis of index. So first number will be stored on 0th index, second number will be stored on first index, third number will be stored on second index, or fourth number will be stored on third index. Okay, so that's the reason we are saying array is the indexed collection of your homogeneous data type. Index collection of your homogeneous data type. Okay, clear this particular point?
Yes, Ajay.
Everyone?
Yes.
Yes, Ajay.
Okay, okay. Now see how to
Also,
create
it
that.
is non-primitive data type.
Uh, yes, array is a non-primitive data type. Correct. We have seen here. Okay. So where is that slide? Okay. So array is a non-primitive data types. And what it will store? It will store the same type of element. Same type of element it will store. Okay. Now coming to this particular slide. Okay. Now it will store the similar type of element, similar type of element. Okay, so array is your non-primitive data type. Array is your non-primitive data types, and it will store the similar type of element. So you can make definition as per your understanding. You can say, okay, array can store the uh, similar type of number, similar type of data, similar type of data. That is also true. If you say array is the used to store the similar type of data, okay, and it will have index collection, okay, that is also true. Okay, you can say, okay, array can store the homogeneous data element, okay, that is also true. So as per your understanding, you can tell the definition, okay, but mostly, I mean, no one going to ask you a definition, okay, they will give some programs on array, okay, or they will ask you, do you know how to create array, how to create, array, what are the different way to create the array, right? So that kind of question they will ask at the time of interview. Okay, now see, so first syntax of creating array, okay, so you have to say, if I'm going to the Eclipse, okay, or you can say like this, okay, so this is the first syntax, okay, int, then you have to provide the brackets. Brackets is known as an array. Okay, so for example, I'm saying int a is equal to, and let's say I have to give the values. Okay, so I'll say you have to always give the values inside the curly braces. Okay, so I can say like 20, 30, 40, or 50. Okay, so this is the syntax number one. Okay, so this is, we can say, the syntax number one. Okay, now second syntax, what we can take? Okay, now we have second syntax. Okay, instead of here, you can take it just before the A. Okay, why I'm taking this kind of syntax? Because Java is very strict about, spaces and, your case. Java is case sensitive as well as space sensitive as well, right? So for the array, we have some, I mean, different way. So let's say, instead of, having this bracket here, I can create, I mean, I can have this bracket here as well, and it is completely valid syntax, right? So that's the reason we're taking this. Okay, so I can say like, this is my, let's say, 20.30, sorry, 30.30, 40.40, okay, and then 50.50. Okay, so this is the way number two. Okay, way number three is, you can say like, okay, I'm not giving just before A or just after A. In between, I'll take. Okay, so instead of here, I'll say I can take it here. Okay, in between, but not just after int and not just before A. Okay, in between I will take. Okay, this also valid syntax. We are just checking what are the different valid syntax. With the help of that, we can create that. Okay, so this is also valid syntax. Okay, so I can say, I will create here, I will say here, let's say, uh, okay, so here instead of int, I should say float, because I'm creating float, right? So I will say float. Okay, then let's say for the int, I'm having, let's say, 10, 20, and 30, whatever data you can add, that particular data. Okay, so this is the third. Okay, so this is the second syntax. This is the third syntax. Okay, now we have fourth syntax as well, right? So I will say int. So let's say a, and after a, I'm adding this bracket. So if you see, first four is where exactly you are adding the bracket. So first here we are adding the bracket. Second, you are adding the bracket here, and third, you are adding the bracket middle, and fourth, you are adding the bracket after a. Okay, all these four are valid syntaxes. All these four are valid syntaxes. So I'll say here 30, 40, and 50. Okay, so all these four are valid syntax. Okay, so these are the ways through which you can create the array. These are the way through which you can create the array. So these are the four valid ways. In when we are working on main method, right? So at that time as well, I have shown like, if you are, string args, right? So here, remember that particular session? or just forgot? So I can add this bracket here. I can add this bracket here. I can, instead of here, I can add this bracket here, or I can add this bracket in between, or I can add this bracket after the arcs. Okay, this is valid. This is valid. If I'm adding this after this is valid for the main. Why? Because array syntax is having that relaxation. Array syntax, we have that kind of relaxation. Okay, you can add bracket in this all four places. Okay, and this will consider as a valid array. This will consider as a valid array. Okay, now any doubt here till this syntax on this syntax? Okay, now there is another way that we will see later. Okay, so now with this particular syntax, we'll just try to create one array. Okay, so I'll say array in Java, array in Java. Okay, so what we say, like you can have one int. Okay, after int, you can say this is the array, or I mean most popular way of creating array is this like this. Okay, a, and after that brackets. Okay, then I'm saying equals to, okay, then I'm saying like 10, 20, 30, or maybe like this. Okay, now like this we can create the array. So this is something I have created one array. Okay, so on this particular line I have created array. Okay, now how it will be stored? It will be stored like this. It will be stored like this. Okay, in picture how we are showing, like here number 10 is going to stored on which index? Number 10
Zero.
is going to stored
0.
on 0th index. Okay, so here number 10 will be the on 0 index, number 20 will be the first index, this 90 will be the third index, sorry, second index, and 30 will be the third, third index. So this is how these numbers are going to stored in array, right? Now, if I want to print, let's say number 20, how I am going to print number 20? Okay, so for that I will say system.out.println, and I have to provide the index of that particular number. So what is the index of sorry, what is the
First
index
one.
of 20?
1.
One
One.
index, right? So I will say a of, okay, you have to provide this bracket, that is a square bracket, and in that square bracket you have to pass the index of that particular number. So I want to print 20, so I will say 1. I will say 1, and if I run this, so it will print the index of that, but sorry, it will print that particular number. So what I'm exactly doing here, I'm saying array. Okay, so we have created array A, right? So I'm saying array of 1, array of 1. That means I'm accessing index 1 from this particular array. So what it will do, it will go in this particular array, it will check, okay, on index 1, okay, what number is stored, right? So in this case 20 is stored, right? So it will access the 20 from that particular index. Okay, so this is how we can access the number from the array. Okay, now what if I want to print all the numbers from the array? How you are going to print all the numbers from the array? So let's say I want to print, let's say 20, sorry, this 90. Then I will say 2, right? And I will run it, right? So it will print 90. So how I am changing the index? It will print the next number, right? So if I'm saying like, I want to print the 30, sorry, 30. In that case, I will give the 3 index, right? And now if I run this, so it is printing the 30, right? So if I'm changing the index, it is changing the number from the array. Okay. Now if I say like, I want to print the index 4, what will happen?
Carry out to bound exception.
Hmm?
Generated.
It will
Array
give
of
you,
out of bound exception.
right, exactly. It will give the exception, array index out of bound
Out of
exception.
bound.
Now in future, if you are coming this kind of exception like array index out of bound, that means you are accessing some index which is not in array. You are accessing one index which is not in array. Okay, this is out of bound. Okay, so in array you are having 0 to 3 index and you're saying I want fourth index. Fourth index is not available. How I can give you fourth index, right? So that's the reason it will give the exception array index out of bound exception. Array index out of bound exception. Right? Now, now this is how we can create the array. But my ask is, I want to print all the numbers from the array. How I can print?
We will not write any number.
Sorry.
Means, we will not write any number. There is three. Uh,
Right, right. So I want to basically my requirement is I want to print all this number. So how I'm going to print all this number? Basically, I want to print the element of array. Okay, so I'm having one array and I want to print the elements of the array. So we got the
Using
idea.
the for
If
loop.
yeah, so
Using
we
for
got
loop.
the yes, that's correct. Okay, so we got the idea on zeroth index, number 10 is stored. Okay, on the first index. Okay, number 20 is store. Second index 90 is store. Third index 30 is store. Right. So can I take one for loop? Okay, which will iterate from 1 to 3. Sorry, 0 to 3. Okay, and I will pass this index here. Okay, so I'll say for. Okay, uh, and I'll say I should be start from the 0. Okay, and it will be, see, it is having 0 to 3, right? 0 to 3. So as of now, I'm just hard coding this particular 3. Okay, I'll tell you, if you don't want to hard code, then what needs to do. Okay, so basically I want to get the number 0 to 3. So I'm saying 0. Okay, then I less than or equal to maybe 4, I will say 4y. Or if I want to take the 3, then I will say less than or equal to 3. Okay, and then I plus plus. Okay, now if I run this and I will say I, then what number will be printed
A
from 1
array
to
of I, Ajay.
yeah, I'll just tell you. Okay, what it is printing?
Okay.
0 to 3. Okay, and what we need? 0 to 3. Right. So if I say A of I, okay, now on first iteration, what it will do? It will go in our array. Okay, so value of I will be how much first iteration? It will be the 0. Right. So it will go here and it will say A of 0. Okay. Now you will go here and it will say I need A of 0. Right. So A of 0 we have what? A of 0 we have 10. So it will print the 10. Now second iteration value of I will be the 1. Now it will ask I need A of 1. So A of 1 is 20. So it will print the 20. Now third iteration it will say value of I will be the 2. So it will say I need A of 2. So A of 2 is this one. And third iteration it will say I need A of 3. So A of 3 is this one. All right. So it will, this way it will print all the numbers from array. So we are printing all the numbers of from the array. Okay. Now I have hard coded here this particular thing 3. But say, let's say I am having, let's say, um, here one more number. Okay, and I'm saying I'm taking this 1 to 3. Okay, 0 to 3. Okay, but if I run this, it will not print the last value. Okay, so it's printing from 0 to, why? Because I have hard coded this condition. So instead of hard coded in array, there is one variable available, that is the a dot length. That means array name dot length is there. Okay, so a is my name of array and I'm saying a dot length. I'm saying a dot length. Okay, so it will print the, so basically it will have the length of array. So in this case, what will be the length of array? Okay, so length of array
4.
means it will count the number from the array. Okay, so number
0
one,
to 4.
2,
0
3,
to 4.
4, 5. So length of array will be the 5 in this case. It will not count from
Yeah.
0. It will count from 1. Okay, so it will say this is the 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. Okay, so length of array will be the 5. So in this case, I don't need this equal to. Okay, so it will print. Okay, so let me print the length of array as well so that you will get idea. So I'll say length equal to, let's say, plus a dot length. Okay, and now if I run this, so length is, it is saying 5. Why 5? Because it will start from the 1. Okay, so always remember length when you are saying length, right? So it will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From 1 to it will start from 1. Okay, but when I'm saying index, right? So it is start from the 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It will be having fourth index, right? So it will count like this. Okay, from to calculate the length, it will count 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Till the whatever element we have. All right. But when I'm saying like, index, okay, so index should be always start from the 0. So this thing you have to remember. Clear here? Any confusion? Okay, I think you got loaded today. So maybe we'll stop here. I'll take this topic again tomorrow. Okay.
Sir, we have class.
Tomorrow we don't have. Sorry, we'll have class on Monday. But tomorrow, if anyone wants to meet, anyone wants to discuss with me anything, just ping me. I will tell you my availability, and based on that, we can connect.
Ajay, regarding the method,
Yeah. I'll take you after
yeah.
just after this session. Okay. But anyone is having any doubt here in array? Okay. If you are having array, any doubt, we'll take it tomorrow. If you don't having array, any doubt on array, in that case as well, we are going to take this complete thing tomorrow. We'll cover tomorrow means Monday. We'll cover this array Monday again.
Okay.
Okay. We'll take couple of example on array as well on Monday's session. Into examples. Okay. So I think that's it for today's session. Okay. Tomorrow we'll meet. That means Monday we'll meet on same time. Okay. So Vajra, you can stay. If anyone is having any issue on method or understanding, not understanding the method, in that case, you can stay on call. Otherwise, you can drop the call. Thank you.
Okay, I want to.
Okay, fine. Okay, so Vajra, what exactly issue you are having to understand, or you are not understanding at all?
Yes, Ajay. So regarding the method set, I'm facing the confusion there, like whether it is right or wrong. I'm not sure. So if you teach again on that, then I think I can have a clarity on that.
Okay. Okay. So what I said about the method is, we can, so it is piece of code. Okay. Method is the piece of code that you are going to use repetitively. Okay. So piece of code that you are going to reuse, or you can use it repetitively. So this particular code is called as the method. Okay. So method is the piece of code that you are going to use repetitively. Piece of code you are going to use repetitively. So this is called as a method. Okay. Now, if you want to create the method, you should have first method name. Method name. Okay. Method name is important. Okay. After method name, you should have, this bracket. Okay. A rounded bracket. and then curly braces open close. Okay, so whatever you are going to write in this particular curly braces, this is called as the method body.
Okay.
Method body. This is called as the method body. So every method will have some code, right? Now, apart from these, method will have one return type. Okay, method should have return type. Okay, so return type will be there. Return type. Okay, return type will be there. Okay, and apart from this, method will have some parameters, or we can say the argument. It will have some arguments. Arguments means parameter. So how many arguments it can have? It can have multiple argument. You can have n number of argument. Okay, so we can say this is my arg1. Arg means parameter. Okay, this is my arg1. Okay, arg2, then arg3. So three argument I'm having. Okay, so you can have n number of argument. There is no limit. Okay, n number of argument you can have. Okay, so in method, so what are the different thing is important? So first you can have return type for the method. Okay, then you can have method name. Okay, then we can have arguments. Arguments. Then you will have method body. You will have method body. Okay, method body will be there. Okay, now you have to take care of all these things. Okay, so method name, see, now for example, I am writing method for the addition. So what will be the my method name? For example, add is my method name. I'm going to write the method name as a add in that case. Right. So method name, you can give anything. There is no restrictions. Okay. Whatever you feel comfortable, whatever you feel suitable, you can give. But this should be the meaningful. Name should be the meaningful. Okay. For example, I am creating one program where I'm counting the number of digit. Right. So I will say count digit. I'll say my method name is count digit. Okay. So suppose for example, I am writing some method to count the digit. Right. So I will say my method name is count digit. Right. Count digit. Okay. So I will create the method name like this. Right. So more in I mean high level, we can say if you write if you want to write any method, so that method should have return type. So this is compulsory. Method should have return type. So what exactly return type you can give? Okay, so if you want to give return type, then you can give any primitive. Okay, primitive we have seen, right? Any primitive as a return type. You can give any primitive data type as a primitive data type we have already seen, right? What are the primitive data types available? Primitive data types. Int,
Int float,
okay,
yeah.
byte, int, then sorry, byte, short, int, long,
Float,
long,
double,
load, and then double, and then boolean
boolean.
is there, character is there. Okay, so there are eight primitive data types, right? So within that eight primitive data types, you can have any return type depending on your condition. Depending on your condition, you can have any return type. Okay, now if I'm saying like I don't want to return anything, my I'm just going to print some messages, right? So in that case, I don't need any, have any return type, right? So in that case, you have to give the return type as a void. You have to give the return type as a void. So void means you are not returning anything. Void means you are not having, you are not returning anything. Void means you are not returning. So either you can give this primitive, or if you don't want to give the any return type, then you have to say void. You have to say the void. Okay. Now, if you are saying I'm going to return anything out of this, then compulsory you have to use the return statement here at the last. Return.
Ajay,
Okay.
when do we use return zero?
Return zero means, see,
What does that mean?
return zero means you're returning the zero. Okay, it's not like in Java we are not using return zero anywhere. Okay,
Oh,
yeah. So return zero is you are just returning zero number. Only that meaning is there. Okay, it's not
okay,
like return zero will do something different,
okay.
right? So you have to return something from here, right? So I will return, let's say, 1. Okay, but you have to take care of all these fields. Okay, when you're writing, this is very simple, and if you're doing this writing method again and again and again and again, then you will get comfortable with this particular thing. Okay, so let's take, if I want to write do the addition of two number. If I want to do the addition of two number, add two number, I want to do the addition of two number, then how I am going to do the addition of two number? Then for that first step, or important, what I will do, I will give the name of the method. So I will say my method name is add two number. Okay, so for example, I'm giving this particular name, add two number. Okay, or simply add I will give. Okay, but this is the method name. It's my choice. I can give anything. Okay, and this is readable, so that is fine. Okay, so anyone can understand. I'm going to add there two number. Okay, so this is my method name. Okay, I can give anything. Okay, now I given this name add to number. Okay, now I want to add two number, right? So I need to take two number from as a input, right? Two number as the input I will require. So what I will do, I'll pass these two numbers as a parameter. I'll pass these two number as a parameter. Okay, so now I'll say int a and int b are my two number. Int a and int b are my two number. Okay, now what I will do, I will say, let's say perform the addition of two numbers. So I will say int c or int result equals to a plus b. Okay, now whatever result is coming, okay, I can return that result as well. I can return that result as well. Okay, because see, it's not necessary. You can print it result itself here itself, and there is completely fine. Okay, so suppose if I'm saying void, okay, and I can print that result itself here. Okay, so let's go to the Eclipse and try the same. Okay, so I'll create one program and say method in Java. Okay, so this is my program I have created. Okay, now I want to write one method. Okay, so um, let's say I want to write one random method. Let's say I want to print. I will take one argument and I will print that argument. Okay, so for example, I will say I want to print one argument. So I will take one method. So I'll say, so let's say my method name is print data. This is my method name. Okay. Now I just want to print whatever argument I am taking here. So let's say I'm taking one argument as a int a. Int a is my one argument, and I just want to print that argument. So I will say print a. Okay, I will print the a here. Okay. Now till this is I have written this method, but still I'm getting error. What error it is? It is saying, boss, you have to provide the return type. Okay. Then I'm saying, okay, in return type, what I can give? I can give in return type where it is. Here it is, right? So I can give void, okay, if I don't want to return anything, or if I want to return something, then I can give this one. Okay, in that case, I just want to print. Okay, then I will say, okay, my return type will be the, let's say, void. Void is my return type. In that case, I'm just saying void is my return type. Okay, now this particular method I'm going to call from somewhere. So let's take, you know, example. We're calling this particular method from the main. We're calling this particular method from the main. Okay. Now this is the again non-static method. Main method is a static. So I need to call this method through the object. So let's quickly create the object. So I'll say main method, sorry, method in Java. So let's say m is equal to new method in Java. So this is how we can create the object. We'll take see this later on. Okay, and then I will say m dot print data. M dot print data. Now for this printed data, I need one argument. See, this is the definition of method. This is the definition of method, or we can say the signature of method. Okay, where we are saying if you are calling this particular method. So this particular statement is called as a calling method. Calling method. This is called as a calling method. So I am actually calling method. Which method? This particular method I'm calling from here. Okay, so this, I mean, I'm calling method. Which method? This method from here. Okay, so this particular statement means I'm calling the method. Okay, now it will ask, see, you are saying this particular method is required one argument. So you should compulsory pass that argument. You should compulsory provide that argument. So in this case, I'm saying, okay, I'm going to give the argument, let's say 20.30f. Will it be fine with you? Okay, so it will say no, it is not fine. Why? Because you are saying here integer argument is required. Okay, so compulsory you have to provide the integer argument, because here we are saying like, this argument is a type of integer. Argument is the type of integer. So you have to pass the integer here. Okay, now if I run this, what will happen? Your execution will always start from where? Main method, right? So it will come to the main method. It will first create the object. Once object is created, then it will call the method. Call the method means what? Your control will transfer from here to here. From main method, your control will transfer to this particular method. Okay, now I'm passing 20 as argument for this particular method. So 20 will pass here, and now value of a will be the 20. Value of a will be the 20. Now when I'm saying on next slide system.out.println a, so it will print the 20 here. It will print the 20. Why 20? Because value of a is 20. How value of a is 20? Because for this function, we are passing the value as a 20. So that's the reason it will print the 20 here. Now let's run this particular program and see this is printing the 20 here. Okay, so let's debug this particular program so you will get the clear idea. Okay, how your control is transferring. Okay, so let's say on this particular line, instead of here, I'll add the debugger here. Okay, so as I said, your execution will start from the main method. Okay, in main method, we are creating the object. Right, so I will say, let me take some water. Just a minute. Okay, fine. Okay, so let me run this particular program. So I'll say debug as a Java application. Okay, now see, debugger is here. Okay, debug point I have added here. So it's just stopped here. And I will say step over. Okay. When I'm saying step over, it is just going on to the next line. Okay. Now here, I don't want, I I don't want to, I'm not interested what output this method is producing. Okay. Instead of that, I'm interested in what actually happening in this particular method, right? So that's the reason I'm saying step in here. Step in means what? Step in means go inside this method. Okay. So I will say step in. Okay. So if you see where control is transferred to this particular method. And now if I hover on A, what is the value of A? Are you guys there?
20, Ajay.
Yeah. Value of A is the 20. Why? Because see, from here we are passing the value of A as a 20. So I'm saying for this particular method, there is one argument A. Okay. So at the time of calling, I have to pass the argument value. At the time of calling, I have to pass the argument value. So argument value is 20. I'm passing here for this function, right? So when I'm printing A, it is just printing the 20. So if I say step over, okay, so if you see, it's just printing that particular 20, right? So this is how it is working. So now if I'm saying I need two argument, right? So how it will work? So I'll say int A, sorry, int B. Now in this case, I'm having two argument. So second argument as well, I can print here. So I'll say system dot out dot println and I'll say print B. Okay, now immediately I'm getting error here. What error I'm getting here? It's saying like, you said like, for your method, two parameters are required. For your method, two parameters are required. And at the time of calling, you are passing only one parameter. At the time of calling, how many arguments you are passing or how many parameters you are passing? You're passing only one. So compulsory, you have to pass the two parameters with the same type. Okay. Now, for example, this number is float. This number is float, right? So in that case, I should compulsory pass here float number, right? So now it's not giving me error because by default, this number as well consider as a float, right? So I have to pass here 20 dot float. Okay, 20.20 float, right? Then and then only, I mean, see, you have to understand what parameter I'm passing here and see what parameter is required here or what parameter we have declared here. Similar type of parameter you have to pass at the time of calling. At the time of calling. So this is about the parameter. Okay. So parameter means I'm saying like, when you are calling the method, you have to pass this parameter. You have to pass this parameter. When you are calling this particular method, you have to pass this parameter. Okay. As of now, I'm taking variable. Okay. And I'm assuming this variable will get value when it will be called. When it will be called, this parameter will get value. Okay. Now you tell me if I want to write the method for the addition, right? If I want to take one method for the addition, see, I will require two parameters because I want to add the two numbers, right? So basically I will take the two numbers, right? Rather than hard coding, right? So there is one way, okay. What we can do, we can say like, I want to add method. I want to create one add method. So I will say, uh, I can say, I can create one method and I will give the name add. And in that, I'm not passing any argument. And I'm doing here one, I'm taking one variable here, int a, okay, is equal to, let's say 10. And then I'm taking another variable int b, and value of that int b will be the, let's say 20. And then I'll say uh, int c is equal to a plus b. Okay. And then I will print the system.out.println. And then I will print the C, result C. Okay. And instead of this, from here, I'll call this particular method. Okay, so I'll call m dot what? Add. M dot add. Okay, and now if I run this particular code, it will print the addition of A and B. Now you can say like, see, this method is doing same job. Okay, then why you need a parameter, right? But tomorrow if I ask you, I want to do the addition of, let's say 40 plus, sorry, 40 plus 50. Then what you are going to do? You're going to go and change in these values into code, and you'll say, okay, it's working now. So 40, what you said, 40 and 50, right? So I'll do the 40 and 50. Okay, and it's working perfectly fine. Then what is the issue? Right. Now see here, my function, if I want to take the different numbers, then my function is not capable to, do this because I have hard coded here these values. Okay. Now, instead of this hard coding, what we can do, we can take these two numbers as a parameter. Okay. Now what I will do, I'll take these two numbers as a parameter. So I'll say int a is my parameter and int b is my parameter. Int a is my parameter and int b is parameter. Okay. So I just take the two parameters. Right. Now what I did at the time of calling, first initially I want to do the addition of 20, 30, right? So I'll say 20, comma 30, 20, comma 30. Right. And if I run this, this method is capable to do the addition of 20, 30. Now, tomorrow someone come and say like, let's do the addition of, let's say, 30, 40. All right. So what you are going to do, you are going to call this method again. So you'll say add, okay, let's say 30, 40. 30, 40, you are just going to call this particular method. Okay. So it will, what it will do, it will do the addition of 20, 30. So tomorrow someone's come to you and it will say like, do the addition of 100 and 200, right? So you're going to, how you're going to do, you'll just say m dot add, okay, and you'll say 100 and 200. Okay, now this particular method will give me the result of what is the addition of 100 and 200. So it's giving me 300. Okay, so now I can say, can I say like, this particular method, I can use to do the addition of any number. I have to just call this method and it's just performing the addition of any number, any two number, right? So I don't have to do any changes in code. I just have to call this particular method and it's just doing the addition of those number for me. Till here, this is clear for everyone or still having confusion why we need parameters?
This is clear, Ajay.
Okay, perfect. Now see, now I'm having requirement, okay, or maybe whatever result I'm getting, I need to perform some operation
Recording
on
is
result.
so your recording is going on. So can we
Sorry,
stop? For now, recording is going on.
your voice, I'm not able to get you. Can you maybe speak a little bit loud or
I'm saying recording on is running right now.
recording
For
is
now,
running, right?
yes, yes.
So shall I stop it?
As you wish.
Okay.
I mean, it will be long recording. Long
Yeah,
recording.
yeah, yeah. Maybe in that case, if you want, I will stop the recording. Okay. Okay.